Okay, so the first time I put sections 1-1 and 1-2 together, so now I'm going to try it separately because that didn't upload to YouTube. So 1-1, variables and expressions, will be the first one we're talking about, and we have a lot of definitions. So I'm just going to quickly go through the definitions and then show you what you're going to do with your homework. So variable is a letter that represents a value, which is a number. So you saw in your placement test several equations that had numbers, and today we're going to be talking about expressions rather than equations. So an algebraic expression is a phrase that includes one or more variables and there is no equal sign. So with an expression we can simplify an expression, but we can't actually solve an expression. It would be like a plus b. There's nothing we can do with that. So we just have to leave it alone. So when we're talking about a numerical expression, it is a phrase that includes numbers and operation symbols, but no variables. So those are the kind of expressions you are used to. You are used to 8 minus 2, 5 plus 3. Those are all ones you're used to. So when we talk about our operation symbols, we write a lot of it in words. So we're going to talk about the operation symbols and words that go with it. And an example of that, the words that mean to add are plus, sum, increased by, more than. So if we had the sum of a and b, you'd put a plus b. Or a increased by b, a plus b. We use the minus sign when we have the word minus. Difference means we're subtracting two numbers, or the word subtract or take away. A minus b. If we had b less than a, that means that we're taking b away from a, so you'd write it as a minus b. And you could also say that that was diminished when we subtract. So we can use several different words to mean the same thing. Some of you asked me the question when you had two letters side by side what it meant. Well, that is multiplication. You are used to probably a big X. Well, now we're going to use a dot to show multiplication, or if it's variables, we don't show anything between them. If you have A and B side by side, that means A times B. That means product, if you're using a word, or multiply, or times. If we're dividing, we could use the word divide, or also quotient. Quotient means the answer to a division problem. Division, besides a divided with a division symbol, we can also write it as a fraction, because a over b in a fraction means a is divided by b. So a lot of times when we do quotients, we write them as fractions. Other words that you might see are twice and double, which means 2 times a, or 2a. If we square something or find it squared, that is a to the second power. If you had 3 squared, that would mean 3 times 3 is 9. 5 squared, 5 times 5 is 25. We can also cube things. Cube means to the third power. So if we have 3 cubed, it means 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So if we have the expression 3 more than twice a number, you want 3 more than something, so you're writing down your plus 3, and then you have twice a number. So it's 3 more than twice a number, so you're adding 3 to that twice a number, so you'd have 2n plus 3. So if you have 5 less than, that means you're subtracting 5 from something, and the something you're subtracting it from is half a number. So I start by writing the minus 5, and then the number that you are subtracting the 5 from is half, so you can write m divided by 2, or you could take half the number, 1/2 times n minus 5. Notice I use different variables there. For a number, it could be any variable that you like, any letter you like. So feel free to use anything, x's, a's, b's, anything you want. Twice the difference of 5. So you had twice, which means 2 times. So when I have 2 times, I always do 2 and parentheses. Now I'd finished this problem before, so I'm going to just write it up here. So when I say 2 times, I'm going to do 2 parentheses, and now I read the rest of it. The difference. Difference means I'm subtracting 2 things. So I put the minus sign in there. So it's the difference of 5 and a number. So then I get my 2 times 5 minus x, and I would be done. So if I have the sum, sum means I'm taking 2 numbers and adding them. So my first number is going to be 15, and the quotient. Well, so I write my 15 down. The quotient means I'm doing a division problem. And I have 12 and a number. So in my division problem, the 12 would go on top. Your number would go on the bottom. Since I don't know it, you can put any letter again down in the denominator that you want. Numerator's 12, denominator's b. If you don't want to write that as a fraction, you could go 15 plus 12 divided by b, and it is the same thing. So now we're going to go to our homework. All right, so your homework page, when you sign in and you're in algebra, you had all these placement tests in there before, and they'll still be there for a little bit until everybody's done placing. But if you see a blue circle, that is homework. So A1, Chapter 1 is your homework. So you want to click on the homework, and it will pull up your homework page. If you remember, we did the first 12 problems in the orientation. And if you look to our left here, we had 0 point, or O actually for orientation, sorry, I forgot that was an O, 1.12. If I go to the next problem, 13, it'll say 1.1. So the problems that deal with 1.1 will all start with 1.1. And so your problems that deal with 1.1 go from 13 down to 17. And if we went to the next problem, 18, you would see that it says 1.2.10. That's the next section that I have not given you instruction on yet. So you just want to do problems 13 through 17. And again, in the center of your page, it will tell you what numbers you're on. So start with number 13 and go through 17. Also be looking for that 1.1. Now you may start your homework on section 1.1.